Hey everybody, it's the interview queen Alicia Atout here, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to my interview with Sam Adonis and Raylan. Hi, you two.
Hey, girl.
Hello, it's good to be back. We haven't seen you in quite some time because of all this COVID madness.
I know it's been way too long since I've seen you guys, spoken to you. So how are you doing with all this craziness going on?
Well, I'm losing my mind because
Yeah, we're doing our best, though. We're doing our best.
wrestling is starting to pick back up. So finally, we're allowed to, return to normal life a little bit. But I've been driving as an Amazon driver for the last 5 months. So.
I became a truck driver too for a little bit, actually. When when the barbershop closed down, he got me a job, and I was delivering packages for Amazon as well.
Right.
I never
feel like
anything I do in my life.
I feel like everyone was put in that position where you had to just pick up the pieces and figure something out because there was just not many things you could do, and you couldn't do what you loved at the moment. It really sucked. So I'm glad to see that everything's kind of coming back. I wouldn't say to normal, but at least, to fruition a little bit.
It feels kind of normal. Like, we went out to eat, what was that, like last week or something? And everything, I was like, this is the most normal day we've had since
Six months.
Since everything happened. It was pretty cool. And then with wrestling, some of the shows seem more normal than others. We're doing a lot of outdoor stuff, which is kind of, it's normal in the summer, but not this many.
Yeah.
It just puts everything into perspective, though, and it really makes you realize that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. I think so many of us, I'm sure yourself, including, we don't realize how lucky we are to do what we love and be able to travel the world, and just you take it for granted, and for that being taken away from all of us, definitely makes you want to work harder and get the most out of it when we have the opportunity, because you never know when it's just going to end completely.
Yeah, we've kind of been given that taste of it ending. It's like, I never want to be there again. Like, I'm really grateful in this point in time. I have the technology to still speak with people, even though it's not in person. Because I know I was mentioning to both of you before we recorded, and over the last few days, being literally stuck here and not being able to take the bookings over there, it's been intense. So I'm just so happy for people like you. Like, at least you can get back out there and take those shows, because it really is, it's your life. So it just put a smile on my face seeing things at least start to open back up. It's nice.
The start is nice to see, because it means hopefully soon the borders will open and we'll all be getting back to doing things like that we were doing before, like the traveling.
And the thing is, it's still there's still new things about it. You're just traveling with the mask on and the hand sanitizer. The precautions you have to take. It's a completely different world.
I always use hand sanitizer in the airport.
Right.
It feels a little bit like we have a bit more responsibility in our travels, but where there's a will, there's a way. We love to do it, so it's kind of cool to just be out there again.
Absolutely. I know it's kicking the interview off with a little bit of just I don't want to say a downer, but it's really the reality that we're living in, and it sucks. But it's one of those things where now, kind of like Sam was mentioning, you take those smaller things not for granted anymore. And one of those small but really important, awesome things you have on the horizon is that you have an adorable little puppy on the way. And I like how I say that as if there's a baby and someone's pregnant on the way. But it's amazing. You get him on October 1st. So just how pumped are you for that?
It really sets in whenever, this past weekend, I was wrestling and fans come up and say, "Oh, when's the puppy coming?" It's almost bigger than us, which is fantastic. They're both of our social media presence, just sending a puppy dog, means a lot to a lot of people. So we're about 2 weeks away, and he will be named Star-Lord Yukon.
Yeah.
So, what a name. Badass.
And it really brought it home. I was like, oh my gosh, am I ready to be a puppy parent? I don't know. I have to make time, right, to be a good parent.
I just think it's funny. I'm 6'4" and 240 pounds. Running around with a little Shih Tzu is going to be kind of unique looking. My next 8x10s I sell at wrestling shows might have the dog in it. I'm just saying.
They will.
Do it, please. It's going to sell out instantly. You got to do it.
Best photo he ever sold.
Yeah, we'll probably end up bringing him to the ring once or twice. I know Warriors in Chicago, Steve and Eric already said that, if we're driving to Pittsburgh when we have the dog, we better bring him. So
next time. This dog is going to be so well traveled.
Right, very cultured and educated dog. Now, before we get into any further, Ray, there is something that I want to talk to you about because you posted this tweet that just had me laughing for a while. And it was a photograph that you shared, and it was of one of your tattoos, and you actually got your name tattooed on yourself. So please explain and tell me a little bit more.
Not my only bad tattoo. This was the second one. My first one, I got a Playboy bunny tattooed on my hip, and then I got a cover up. And then like a couple years later, I was like, I'm gonna get scissors and my name on it. And I don't know what I was like my name. Like I couldn't think of anything more clever at the time. So then I get tattooed, and like instantly, I would say within weeks, I'm like, man, I got my name tattooed on me. And like I always feel stupid when I look at it. Like I didn't know I was going to be a professional wrestler and wrestle a Chantilly Cella or anything like that.
I
But
literally show it off every single day.
and it's Rachel. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to do something about it someday. I will get a cover up.
Yeah. Have you ever told any good stories, like cover-up stories, as far as what Rachel might be when you're wrestling as Chantilly, or like has anything come up in that sense?
Sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's like my love child, or like, I don't know, come up with something like that.
Grandma named Rachel.
Right. Well, one thing I, of course, have to bring up is the fact that you two are now together, and I've been in locker rooms with both of you, sometimes at the same time, sometimes not, and it's obvious that you have both been on tons of shows together as well. So when did you kind of start to realize that there was some sort of connection or some sort of chemistry going on there?
Yeah, that was we didn't really ever plan on that at all.
No.
It actually turned out quite funny because Pittsburgh's a pretty small market. So our independent scene isn't, nearly as exposed as the rest of the country with some of the big name talents. So for years I was living in Mexico or England, and she was living in Los Angeles, and we kind of made our names in the wrestling business outside of Pittsburgh. A few years later, we ended up moving back in Pittsburgh. And when we met, we kind of knew of each other, but we didn't really know anything about each other other than the fact that she's the only other one that's really traveling a lot, and then myself, we kind of had some mutual connections all over the country. And, we just became friends. So that was like really cool. And I think in my position, that's, the best thing about it is too often you don't really, become good friends with somebody you're trying to date. But when you become friends first, you can see the good stuff happen. So, we just became really good friends here in Pittsburgh and started hanging out, and we were on more shows together. And yeah, it's awesome now. We just we kick it.
Completely forgot like the major part of it.
I forgot.
He forgot the major part. We, like he said, kind of knew each other, but it was actually when I was on my way to Japan. I was in the airport, and my mom was helping me check in, and I looked over, and I was like, that's Sam. Like I met him, I think maybe once or twice before. I'm like, oh, that's Sam. So I was like waving to him, and like that morning we got like breakfast and we talked, and that's when we exchanged numbers, and we just stayed in touch that way. Like while I was in Japan, he's like, oh, you need to eat here. And we just kept talking back and forth. And then when I got back, that's when we started like hanging out and decided that we could be good friends.
Yeah, it's
that
fun.
Part.
It's fun. Where Pittsburgh goes, not too many of the guys here have wrestled in Japan. So what are the likeliness of one guy, of us having such a similar story, bumping into each other that same morning at the airport? So it's been fun. And now we have a dog on the way, which is just absurd.
Right. And it's funny because being with you guys at shows and having spent time with you and interviewing you before, I mean, you both can be so quick-witted and sarcastic, but so hilarious. So when I found out that you were dating, I wasn't surprised at all. So what kind of were your first impressions of one another? Like when you first met and thinking back to those first moments, like what did you kind of initially think?
You can tell her.
I told him, I was like, I did not like him. I didn't like
Really?
He's kind of loud and brash, and I guess I am too. But like
yeah,
I don't know being like that. But I was like, oh, he's like a little too much. And then we hung out, and I was like, he's really cool. Like he's so funny. Like I could definitely hang out with him again.
I think.
And then I kept hanging out with him.
We're just type A personalities, and a lot of times that does clash. Like I said, I wasn't really looking for anything. I wasn't, trying to get involved with anybody. I was just enjoying being a single guy. So I didn't really think twice. She was just another girl to talk to. But it worked out perfectly because once she, kind of let down the guard and quit hating me, then I guess we're okay.
Didn't hate you. I just thought you were like, oh my, he's so loud.
I'm loud.
He's still loud.
Yeah. That's kind of my thing.
You've been training together too, which of course is like a really nice bonus of dating someone who happens to be a wrestler, especially when you are a wrestler. So were you both training a lot during quarantine when you initially didn't have shows, or did you okay, so you're shaking your head. So I know a lot of people had to just kind of start again and fix that cardio and get everything back on track, which would suck.
We got super lucky as in to like, we were able to use a ring. There were a couple of different people that were like, hey, use this ring. Hey, use this ring. So we worked out pretty much the whole time. There was a month we took off and it was kind of like we were in the process of moving. So like life was just way too crazy. So I would say we only didn't train for like 3 weeks, maybe.
I definitely gained 15, but I've already lost it. So I'm there where we weren't training, but everything's cool. It's just nice because again, it's not like training. It's not like, making time to go do something. Just hanging out with your best friend, doing what you love. So
fighting each other.
Yeah, I power bomb her sometimes. It's great.
That video you posted, you're like, just a regular date night, just power bomb my girlfriend. That cracked me up.
Oh, it's funny. We're still waiting for the day that the intergender tag team opportunities come up. So luckily, or not luckily, but there hasn't been too many opportunities yet for that. But I've never had an intergender wrestling match, so I'm about ready. But I have to have my sidekick on the side, and she'll be my tag partner, and we'll kick somebody's butt.
That's a pretty amazing sidekick to have because Ray has done so many, like I've watched you in person, like so many awesome intergender matches. So I can only imagine you guys with like the chemistry and stuff.
Well, I know firsthand while I'm laying on the couch watching the Muppets or something, and she'll just fly across the room with an elbow drop. I know she someone out with that, so I definitely want her on my side.
Have you thought about tag team names by any chance?
Not yet, but we've thought about matching gear, which is pretty cool. So if it happens, good thing. I'm sure we'll turn some heads.
I'm sure it's gonna happen. It has to at this point. Come on.
I can't
just put it out there into the universe. It's gonna come back.
I don't know which company will be able to handle all this type A personality in one ring at the same time. Yeah.
Well, I'm here for it. Well, of course, when it comes to working out and training and your jobs, food and what you eat can be a really big part of that. And anytime I see Ray at shows, we always make a point to go to a specific spot. So is the mutual kind of loved cheat meal McDonald's for you two, or what would that be?
Ooh, we've been on a bit of a
clash a lot when it comes to cheat meal, actually, because we like different and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a bit of a clash. She knows that I like to go get milkshakes and chicken nuggies.
I was a fat kid. I graduated high school with almost 300 pounds. So like I have just specific things I want, and when I want them, I need them. She's a bit more tame with what she likes, and she might have one idea of what she wants. I might have 8 ideas. She wants a cheat meal. I want a cheat day. So we have to compromise.
We clash a little when it comes to it. But
you have to try to reel them in a little bit.
Well, you need to calm down because we only get one. So
it's funny because I guess this was a couple months ago. I was getting in really good shape. I was leaning out and all that, just because the lifestyle living with her. She's more into the diet and a lot of this regimen. And I think it was Brian Pillman. She said something too about us dating, and Brian goes, "Oh, well, that explains why Sam's finally in shape." So,
that's such a blunt Pillman thing to say to you.
But it's a testament of how hard she works and how she keeps me in line. So it's definitely a good tag team pair.
See, I'm always, and you know this because you've traveled, I eat the tuna packets like almost all the time, and just the tuna.
Oh my God. I didn't even know that was a thing until her and Holly Dead broke those down. I was like what? Like I don't like tuna, right? So the fact that she was just eating it out of this packet, I was like, what the hell is this?
It's cool though, because she's a great cook, and it's just like, it's just the staying strict, just getting into a way of life and a regimen is the hard part.
And trying to decide if we're getting tacos or pizza, that's also hard. So that's fun cheat meal.
I really do want to say thank you so much to you two for taking the time. I know since you kind of got together and stuff, I haven't really seen anything with both of you. So I'm really excited to have had you on together and catch up. I miss seeing you at shows, and hopefully sooner than later we can hang out.
Well,
Me
I said, a show always feels a little bit bigger and more important when you're there interviewing people
It's
backstage.
true.
So
You.
we can't wait to see you sometime soon.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Drive-throughs with you.
Right? I know, doing squats while we wait for the milkshakes. Good times.
Never heard that. I'm gonna get to when we hang up.
I'll show you the video.
It's filmed. Well, everyone, I want to say a massive thanks to Sam and Ray for taking the time. And of course, be sure to check out AliciaAtout.com, not only for more exclusive interviews, but of course, the previous ones that I filmed with these two amazing people. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.